Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today the Boston Celtics have traded for Anfernee Simons from the Portland Trailblazers. Very interesting trade here. Boston Celtics trading for Anfernee Simons and 2 second-round picks, and we knew this Boston Celtics team would make big changes this offseason, and this is the first one. I am really excited for the backcourt next year of Anfernee Simons and Derek White. 2 really good three-point shooters. Anfernee Simons not as good as Derek White, but a great three-point shooter. 36% this year on 8.5 attempts. A little bit over 8.5 last year, 38%. Career three-point shooter, 38%. I think him and Derek White should really mix well next to each other with for Boston next year. And he is a good scorer, averaging 19 points per game this year, 23 points per game in the 2023-24 season. They could really use that with losing Jason Tatum. And now you've got Simons, and you've got Derek White, and Jaylen Brown. We will see what happens with Porzingis and what the Celtics can get for Porzingis, as it seems like the Celtics will trade him as well. I think you'd probably be looking for a big man if you're the Celtics to replace Porzingis with. But honestly, with this trio right here, Simons, Brown, and White, and then depending on then Peyton Pritchard on the bench, and depending on what you get for Porzingis and Sam Hauser, it seems like the Celtics might trade him as well this offseason. The Celtics, I think, are a team that I could still see in the playoffs as a top 6 team in the Western Conference, either at the 6 or 5 seed potentially. I still look at teams like Orlando, Cleveland, and New York, and say, all right, these 3 teams should be better. Maybe in Detroit if they make a big addition next to Cade this offseason. But I think with the Celtics, what they got right now, they have a chance to be a 5 seed or better potentially, and that's great. Most likely the entire year, no Jason Tatum. But I think with this trade for adding in Anfernee Simons, such a good scorer, such a good 3-point shooter, if the Celtics can keep a really good record with Simons, White, and Brown, and whatever they get for Porzingis, if they end up trading Porzingis, maybe Jason Tatum could make a late return for the Boston Celtics. Who knows? But I think this is a win-win for both teams. Actually, I really have seen that in all the 3 big trades. We've seen 3 big trades leading into the NBA draft. We saw the KD trade. As a Rockets fan, I thought the Rockets did really well getting Kevin Durant, and they're going to improve off of that. But they're also going to hurt by getting rid of Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green, even though I think there's still a good trade for them. So I think Phoenix really needed that defensive dog, and they got that in Brooks, and they got a good scorer in Jalen Green to pair next to Devin Booker, and they got a big first-round pick at the 10th overall pick. I'm not saying it was a good trade for Phoenix, but they got a good package back for a guy who was heading into free agency for them. Then you look at the Desmond Bane trade for Memphis. Orlando got what they really needed. They paid the heavy price, but again, got what they really needed, and Memphis got a good return back on that. And then you look at this trade, Anfernee Simons for Jrue Holiday. Portland is giving up here a really good scorer and really good shooter, Anfernee Simons. But the reason I feel like this is a good deal for both teams is, Portland is giving up a guy who's going into free agency. Anfernee Simons, that's the important thing. This is a contract year for Anfernee Simons. And that could be good for Boston here, because Anfernee Simons could be trying to prove something. And that's the very positive thing if you are the Boston Celtics. And but do you want to get into the point of having to pay him next offseason? That's the difficult part. Well, he is only 26, so that is the good thing. But Jrue Holiday has 3 years left on his deal. Simons has 1, and he's going into an offseason next year where I would predict he's probably going to be looking for a 4 or 5 year deal next year. And that's something I don't think Portland's going to want to give him when they have young guards like Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe in the future. And so, I think this was the right move. Simons, if you would have re-signed him to that big deal, you're looking at him at least being under contract as a Blazer this season plus another 4 or 5, while Holiday is only under contract for the next 3 seasons, and who knows if he'll actually stay. But Boston is getting 2 second-round picks with Simons, and that's good. So, and they wanted to get a couple. It was reported they wanted to get a couple draft picks. When trading away Jrue Holiday, and they are getting those 2 second-round picks with Simons, and that makes sense. They're giving up a guy that has 3 years left on his deal, and getting back one player that is at the end of his contract. Let me know your thoughts on the trade in the comment section, and peace out.